Carolina has very tax bill for our legislature. Probably ahead of most of the states. We'd like to see your support of that when you become president. My second part is the Russian government has more influence in Washington than a state in this nation does because they have a constitution. How do you feel about repealing the 17th Amendment?
The 17th Amendment?
Yeah.
Because you're saying that the country thing, is that the one about how senators are elected?
That's exactly right.
I don't believe that that's the problem. So I wouldn't try to repeal the 17th Amendment because remember, phase 2 of my economic vision is to replace the tax code with the fair tax, and in that legislation it has a mechanism to repeal the 16th Amendment. I would rather focus on that rather than focus on repealing the 17th Amendment. Plus, I don't have a good feel yet for how the majority of the American people feel about that. Here's another thing about Herman Cain. I'm going to be the president of the people, for the people, and by the people. I'm going to recognize the will of the people. So when I get more information about how the American people feel, I haven't seen a poll on that. I don't have any intelligence on that. So I'm still open to that because I got to hear from the people first.
Fair enough.
When you're president, how would you work with Congress to bring about the change in your vision if you're working with half of Congress and the focus on the Senate?
Right.
Work with half of Congress. How do you propose to energize them to bring about the change in your vision?
Great. First of all, this is a good opportunity for me to comment on something President Obama has said. I'm going to ask hers first. I'll call you next. I don't want your arm to get tired. You'll be next. First of all, President Obama has been talking about he can't get those stubborn members of Congress to work with him to pass his agenda. There's a reason for that. His agenda is all wrong. Don't pass stuff. It's wrong. That's why. Secondly, it is apparent to me and a lot of other people that the president's idea of working with him is doing it his way. If you do it his way, then he says they're working with him. All you got to do is go back and look at what's happened over the past 2.5 years when he had this phony healthcare listening session, when Representative Paul Ryan put a real budget on the table and he made fun of it. His idea of working with him is do it his way. Now, here's how I will work with Congress. I respect all 535 of those ladies and gentlemen, and I will work with the United States Congress in order to get ideas such as this passed. I am going to make sure that the legislation is not so complicated that the American people can understand it. And I will be the chief communicator to the American people. It was former Senator Everett Dirksen who popularized the phrase, when they feel the heat, meaning members of Congress, they'll see the light. Y'all gonna be my heat to get them to see the light. Okay? Y'all gonna be the heat to help them to see the light. Just like this Citizens Tea Party movement has helped to get some of them to see the light. Now, I'm going to take executive liberty here and comment on something else that's been bugging me about the meeting. Not the ones that are here. I'm talking about the ones who either didn't show up or they're going to get all of their stories off the internet, which means that's why they pick up the wrong stuff. The media some of them, has made a deliberate attempt to try and marginalize the Tea Party movement and the citizens movement in this country. And to some extent, they are succeeding. Well, I want to say to all of those that are Tea Party activists, citizen activists, fair tax activists, America's prosperity activists, this movement isn't about just one organization. It is about a lot of organizations that are mobilizing their members. Don't let the media cause you to stay home because you want to take back your country. Don't let them intimidate you. Now, the lady with the white blouse and the purple pants.
Mr. Future President.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me ask this question. It's a little bit long, so you do it. I'm a Vietnam-era Air Force brat. My dad served 24 years and 29 days. My son went in the Army in 2000. He married a woman 5 years ago that is in the Army. He convinced my husband, who had been out of the Air Force for 17 years, to go back into the military after 9/11 on January 2nd, 2002. My husband, at that time was 20-some odd years, had enlisted. Will you make a promise to our military that you're going to keep promises that these other idiots cannot? When it's time for war, our soldiers always keep their promises. But as soon as it starts raining down, they start saying, oh, we can't afford that no more. Oh, we can't afford that no more. Our military men and women are what keeps America free. We have stood up, and now they're already talking about they're going to take away our 20-year retirement. They're going to take away all this education money that they promised us. For every promise they make, I always say, yeah, right, I'll believe it when I see it. Because I have seen it since my dad was in Vietnam.
Let me tell you how I view the situation. First, please thank your family members serving. Thank you as a family member for the sacrifice. We have the best military in the world. And this is why other countries like China would like to have what we have because of the spirit of our fighting men and women. Several thoughts in terms of my approach to our military. The first thing that I'm going to make sure of, which will require some roll up the sleeves and hard work, is that our men and women in uniform have what they need to win, because they are in it to win it when they fight for this nation. They need to have